heard a good story. It might make you a lot of money, and then again, it might not. It only takes a few minutes. Would you like to hear it? Everybody says that Mark Januszewski, he's the world's laziest networker. I guess they feel that way because it looks like we never work and we're constantly having fun going to exciting places. We've been privileged to be asked to speak in front of 10 and 15,000 people, won training awards. We've won trips to the four corners of the world. We've been able to follow the Boston Red Sox to different cities, see the New England Patriots play out in San Francisco, and probably a highlight for us was flying our three daughters to Kauai, Hawaii to see us get married and sail the Nepali coast with them. There's the cathedral in the background. That's my wife's favorite spot. And there's a little beach that we like to go to that's about 12 miles long. Every night we get on there for supper and watch the sun go down. Permanently living in Kauai as of June 10th, 2010. No. This isn't going to be one of those self-aggrandizing stories where I tell you how great my life is because of network marketing. I'm hopeful that it'll be sort of an inspiration, whether you're a stalled veteran, you're inexperienced, or you're just getting started and a little frustrated. The best way to tell this story is to turn the clock back to the 80s and tell you about the companies I was with. Two of them in particular are now billion-dollar-plus annual companies. The first one was Herbalife, and I sponsored 3 people into that deal. Lost weight. We all lost weight, but we lost more money than weight. So after about a year, we quit that deal. And the next stop a few years later was with a great company called Nu Skin. Our skin looked fabulous, but our checkbooks looked really, really bad. Now, during that period in the 80s, I followed the suggestions, but I really couldn't tell the forest from the trees. And I'd go to these events, and I'd get all motivated and jacked up, but I kept leaving as an overwhelmed, motivated idiot. I'd get home from these events and I'd talk to everybody. I'd give them details about product information, the compensation plan, how wonderful the founders were. I figured if I could just move line 6 from a particular overhead to a different one, that everything would be great. Here's the real story. When I was with Herbalife, I was with them at the perfect time. They went from 50,000 to 834,000 distributors. And with Nu Skin, I was with them at the perfect time. They went from 50,000 to 360,000 plus distributors. I saw over 1 million reps come into those two companies. None of them were in my group. So I threw in the towel, figured network marketing just wasn't going to work for me. By the 1990s, the early 90s, I had a little seafood business, and I ended up having a really wonderful thing happen. I ended up raising both kids by myself, but the law changed in the seafood industry. My income dropped by about $40,000, $50,000 a year. I was now out delivering seafood 80 hours a week, just trying to make rent, so I rejoined the industry. This time I sponsored just 2 people. Yep, the third one said, no, I've had enough of that stuff, I'm not in. And as hard as I tried, and I was really talking to everybody, I was failing again. This totally baffled me. I was used to making $100,000 a year. I had done that in 4 different ventures, and I certainly had goals, and I was certainly persistent. I mean, let's face it, I had now up to 6 years of failing in network marketing. We had very little money, struggling to make rent, and I took some change out of a jar that myself and the kids threw money in to take our annual 1-day vacation to a local amusement park to drive to hear an expert. Felt, he started talking about 2 words that make all the difference in the world: goals and persistence. I knew that was baloney, that those things are wonderful attributes, but they certainly won't build your business. I was listening to him for about 15 minutes. Didn't know if I had enough money to buy gas to get all the way back up to Massachusetts. Came out in the hallway and was on the verge of breaking down when fate took a hand. He said, let's assume, if it's okay with you, that they enrolled with the same company, they are in the same system, they paid the same price to get enrolled, they have the same meetings available to them, they're marketing the same product, their belief level is off the charts, they work in the same compensation plan, the same amount of hours, same socioeconomic background, they have the same commitment level, the same upline, they live in the same city, they even have the same sponsor. Nancy's cashing huge checks. Al isn't cashing any checks at all. He said, what's the difference between Al and Nancy? Why is that happening? And I said 3 magic words that changed the economic destiny of my family and by extension of myself. The 3 magic words were, I don't know. And he raised his hands and he said, hallelujah, there's really a chance for you. He said the only difference between Nancy and Al, if everything else is the same, is 1 word. Now, I could identify with Al, and I could identify with the Nancys because I saw people enrolling in the company I was with, and I knew that they weren't any better than me, any smarter than me. They didn't have better hygiene than me, and they were breaking pin levels and cashing checks, and I wasn't. I said, well, what's the 1 word? He said, it's really simple. The difference between Nancy, the achiever, who's cashing checks, and Al, who isn't, is 1 word, 1 thing, skills. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, Nancy simply does and says something different than Al. She has some skills. He helped me realize that my career had got to the point where I was looking for the perfect prospect, and I was dying in the business, literally dying. He helped resurrect my entire career because he got me to understand that the biggest lie in network marketing is you just have to find the right people. That was Al's problem. He was looking for the right person. Nancy, with a couple of simple words, could virtually turn anybody into a decent prospect. So he taught me a couple of simple skills just sitting there by this sort of coffee table at the Marriott. And within 60 days, applying those 2 simple skills, we started making about $3,000 a month. We were at 6 figures within 12 months, and we got to multiple 6 figures within 18 months, and that's really what led us to the pictures that you saw at the beginning of the presentation. Everybody knows if you shift from one occupation in life to a completely different occupation, you're going to have to learn some new skills in the new occupation to be effective. But nobody seems to figure that out in network marketing or teach us that. The bottom line is, if we want to earn money in networking, we need to learn some skills. So we hope you'll use this site to discover, learn, practice, implement, and share some skills with people on your team so both you and them can grow a little bit faster. Now, you're going to see Al and Nancy built into every single skill. Why did we do that? Well, first of all, you may find a particular skill that you want to email to somebody in your group for an area that they're struggling with. That way they'll hear the point of the Al and Nancy story if they haven't heard it before. But don't worry, you don't have to sit through it. In each skill, there's actually an outline on the left, and you can bypass the Al and Nancy story and get right down to the nuts and bolts. Make sure if you're going to enter your email and opt in on our list that your email is correct, because we'll be adding a new skill about every 6 to 8 weeks or so, and you'll want to get that right away. You'll also get a newsletter once a month or so. Let me tell you what you won't be getting. Upsells, offers to coach you at $400 an hour, secrets, how people are peddling secrets and systems. None of that stuff is really going to build your business. I know that. Deep down inside, you already know that too. Why are we giving this stuff away? Well, it's pretty simple. There's a philosophy that we discovered years ago that's been very effective for us. That which you share will multiply. That which you hold will diminish. And my friend and mentor, who the guy in the lobby led me to, Big Al, well, I was whining to him one night about all the money people were wasting with these magic systems and secrets and how to sponsor 30 people a month and all that stuff. And he told me that you can't stop people from hurting themselves. But he said maybe there is something that you can do about it. And the fabulous Davine, my beautiful wife, said, hey, I challenge you just to take the time to give this stuff away to people. It helped you. Maybe it'll help some other people. So may peace be the journey as you build your story, because the size of the success that you have is going to be in direct proportion to your willingness to learn some skills, practice some skills, and put the skills in play. Bless you at every step of the journey. You must become the change that you seek.